because the position after d6 is some position which black just fight for a draw, but after f6 it's quite counterplay for both sides.
Yes, and for instance, I'm looking, if we take, then bishop f6, right? We're hitting the pawn, we cannot defend it easily like, for instance, rook d2, which would be a normal move to make normally. But again, as you said, because the queen is being hit, black can take on b2 or even win an exchange with bishop c3. Not the ideal way for white to go. Looks like we might have to go back with the queen to e2.
Yes, I think so.
If we need to resort to such moves, black can even consider maybe playing even d5.
Yes, I like this move.
Trying and you know, then even d4, and maybe some pressure on the king side already, because black is controlling the center so far. I don't love white's position here, but still the game might be ahead of us even in this case. Can we somehow keep the pawn on e5? Maybe we can even we can just protect it somehow. But here I'm not sure how we go about this line. So we could go to d6, right, attacking both pawns.
But I think just bishop b2 is really enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's enough, and we might even see some massive exchanges here.
Yes, this is really not the position Lei wants to go for.
Yeah, white is a tiny bit better, maybe because the bishop is because of the pawn on c5. Black pawn is on c5. White pawn is on c4. As we know, it is preferable to have the pawns on colors of squares opposite to the color of the bishop. But again,
this is really
not in this position. It will probably not be enough at all. Because to begin with, black can try and even transfer the knight to bishop to d4, kind of forcing an exchange of bishops, because you can really not tolerate the bishop on d4 if you are white. And so how can white keep life in this position?
And also here, queen b7 is not a good move. It seems like queen b7 is very active, but black can play rook c7 to stop any attack after. Let's show it. If you go queen b7, I can play rook c7 to stop you play queen a7, and queen b7 is also stopped. Maybe for white you have to go back to queen e4, and this is easy to equalize for black. So here, Alik, what do you think of the position now?
I think it's equalish, and I think because of this move of the short castle move here.
Yes.
Lei allowed black to comfortably complete her development, and it really feels as one of I would even say one of the first times in the whole match that Lei Tingjie misplays the opening plan a little bit. Right?
Yes.
It's not a big. I would not even call it maybe a slight inaccuracy. But so far she was playing so precisely that it really is something new, that she allowed this black to complete her development so easily. And I think we can see on her expressions that she is not. She's not entirely happy with this position, with the outcome of the opening, because she was really hoping for more. And even clockwise, you can see that she's trailing behind Ju Wenjun on time.
Yes, this is very new to us.
Very new to us, to the players, of course. Queen G3 is played as we expected. We might actually see her going into this endgame, liquidating all the games. Guys, we have to apologize again. We had a short glitch. You probably noticed it, that you needed to reconnect to our live stream, but we are here, and hopefully all will be fine from now on. The position, however, really remains quite equalish.
Yeah.
I think Fe5 and Bishop F6, as we discussed, looks very natural for black, and because we are hitting the pawn on B2, the continuation Queen D6 is also almost forced.
Yes.
Right?
All other moves, white may just lost a pawn, I think.
Yes, but you know, actually, the computer is coming up with a interesting idea. The machine plays Queen E4.
Actually, I don't remember. I don't know what is going on.
The point is that it wants to go Queen B7.
Ah, yes.
And if you are too greedy, then you might really really
in danger, because the 7th rank is a very important thing.
Absolutely. So the queen will have to go, and we can at least win back the pawn on A7, but probably more. So this would be very good scenario for white if black takes the pawn on B2.
But maybe,
or maybe we can take,
yes, and Bishop D4 is...
And Bishop D4 looks really forcing. If you want to win back the pawn, you will probably need to somehow exchange those bishops, either by just taking on A7 or by first taking on D4. Now C4 is hanging, so you are kind of obliged to take with the rook, I believe.
Yes, and the rook C7.
After rook C7, with the material equality, only heavy pieces are left on the board. There's really not much white can hope here for in terms of playing for a win, in terms of advantage. Maybe only symbolic advantage, but not more than that.
And Alik, I mentioned something. We just talk about some greatness for white to play A3, which stops knight B4 in the opening. But now you see, after Bishop F6, Queen D6, the pawn on A3 is some problem.
Great point. This is a very good point. And if we take on D7, it will. Really, the position dries up very, very quickly.
Yes, and let's imagine if our pawn is on A2, maybe white still gets some chances to win. For example, rook F7.
At least we have a rook on the 7th, right? We're putting some pressure. So this time the pawn on A3 really backfires a little bit, although it's really not. Oh, but you know, I have an idea. So if you take, we don't have to take on A7. Maybe we have this move.
I like this move, but
because if you go to B2, then I think we are kind of happy with white.
Yes, but I think rook D8 is a move here. Maybe.
Rook D8 is beautiful. So the point being that this bishop cannot be taken. Well, it can be, but not advisable.
Yes, and I think rook D8 is really easy for Ju Wenjun to
of course,
find.
And this really equalizes the game.
Yes, because here, for example, if you play some move like rook E7, I play bishop B2, you cannot take the A7 pawn as the same result.
For the same reason.
Yes.
So this is. So let's go back. This is the current position so far.
And Alik, when I have a rest and I I checked my phone, and some Chinese fans tells me a fact which we don't see in this game, that actually Lei Tingjie wears white out, but inside it's yellow. It's yellow
so
color.
She keeps alternating the colors.
Yeah.
Vivid, very vivid colors, and it actually very, it echoes her personality a lot, right? She's
Yes.
very colorful in all her expressions, and all in the way she speaks, and in the way she plays also.
Yes.
Right? So this is very, and Bobby Fischer, I think, and I'm pretty sure it was him who said that. Chess is the mirror of your soul, basically. So
Yes.
the way you are a person, this is also the way you play chess, right? Because, and we often see that right?
Yes.
The players with the more attacking style are usually also those
More passionate.
who are, so you can see on them that they're more expressionist, expressive, and the more positional players will often be a more
Humble or
more of a solid person.
Yes.
As a human, right?
Yes.
This is a very and what do you learn from Ju Wenjun? She was sitting like she was almost, I would not say bored with this
Yes.
position, but she is like kind of, okay, this is clear to me, this is quite
Yes.
understandable. Maybe she's deciding whether she wants to go and liquidate into this endgame.
Yes, because actually the position after f6, when I need to mention some in a lot of positions when you move your f pawn with white or with black, it means you want to change the style of the position. In a lot of cases, we can see it, and I think f6 played in the game means Ju Wenjun has some thoughts like maybe I want to win this position. So here f takes e5, queen e5, bishop f6. This line goes to really equal position.
Yeah.
She needs to think I still I'm satisfied with a draw, or maybe I still want to play for a win.
Does her position justify playing for a win here, though? Because if you allow white some time to play, I don't know, maybe rook d2 or
Yes.
even bishop f4 with the idea to recapture with the bishop on e5, you might get into a very passive defense.
Yes.
So I'm not sure you're really thrilled about this all. And again, as we said, the match situation is so much different now than it was
Yes.
only one game ago. If she draws this game with black, this means she will have two white pieces left, her opponent only one piece, white piece, and she also gets the white in the last game, which is also
Yes.
quite important. Because there is a huge difference if you reach the last game when you are white and the score is equal.
Yes. Maybe sometimes some good player who thinks I'm better in repeat games, I just play for a draw in the last
As
game.
we have seen Magnus Carlsen do
Yes.
many times in the past, or at least a few times, that he is so confident in his rapid skills that he was willing to give up even promising positions in against Caruana the last
Yes.
game, as we have seen. Where he offered, very uncharacteristically, he offered a draw in a better position with black, but he was so confident in his rapid skill. What do you think about, since we are approaching the later stages of the games, of the match, a reminder of the score, guys, we are tied, the score is tied after 8 games, 4 points each player. In case we have a tie after 12 games, we will go into rapid and then blitz tie breaks. who is the favorite in your mind in those in those tie breaks?
I think both players are both strong in repair and blitz. I don't remember they win some big. I cannot make sure who wins the repair or blitz, but I'm sure both players. Lei Tingjie wins a run-up with. I'm not sure repair or blitz, what repair or what blitz, and Ju Wenjun I think wins at least one time or maybe
yes,
two times.
She was a world rapid champion, of course. So both players really are extremely strong, also in other forms of chess.
Yes. So actually, I think both players. I think none of them well said. I just want to play for 6-6 tie, and I'm pretty sure I will be better in repair.
This is important. This is an important point. But again, if you're black here, I'm not sure you want to over push because
Yes.
The position doesn't really warrant it here. I mean, you are slightly worse, slightly uncomfortable. You take the equalization if you have it.
Yes.
Right?
And if this game happens 2 rounds before, maybe Ju Wenjun will.
Exactly.
push.
I will agree to that at all, unless unless she finds a plan now that will allow her to go on playing without too much risk. I have a crazy thought. Is a move like f5, does it even cross your mind, or is it just try to get some, king h8 and
Yes.
start playing on the king side? Is this that bad? Because it feels that I'm not really ready to play f5, and the bar, as you can see, doesn't like this move at all.
Yes.
Because we have a big weakness on d7, which will really prevent us from getting a comfortable play on the king side, because white will always have very strong counterplay in the center and on the queen side.
And
So
if
f5
you play some moves like g5 on the king side, I can just play f4. Maybe it's not too hard to for white to defend on the king side.
Well, actually, rook d2 is a blunder, right?
Yes,
It's
we need to
actually
be careful.
Very nice, due to a very nice tactical shot. The rook cannot be protected. The queen cannot move away from the attack and keep the rook protected.
Yes, but
Rook d3,
rook d3
is a good enough move.
Yes, very natural.
And again, g5 right now, I think we cannot even try to play because
Even maybe bishop g5 is a
exactly. So we
move.
can maybe play a move like
rook
I
d-
wanted to play. Okay, but maybe just take some f4 or h4. This is not good for black at all. Okay, how can we try and keep some life in this position if we want to? I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm black here. I think I go for this. The only thing I want to make sure is that here I don't miss something that will allow white, something like that. For
bishop
instance.
c5, and I think rook f7 is good enough because actually this kind of sometimes we have some positions like rook f7 and my king is on e8 in some kind of the in this 4 nice openings. Maybe we can show it.
Yeah.
For example, let's go queen c7, f4, queen b6, and king e2, f5, e takes knight f6, bishop e3. Okay, this is a very famous opening a famous line in this opening, and sometimes we have rook d1, For example, rook f8, not now, maybe rook c8 first, and rook g1, and rook f8. Okay, maybe c5 first. I'm not very familiar with this line. And sometimes now bishop c5 and maybe not very good, but after rook f7, this kind of rook on f7 and king on e8 is good enough for black to I would just want to show some the same style for black in this position. Bishop c5, rook f7. The same, almost the same, and black king from e8 goes to g8, which is benefit for black.
Yeah.
So this kind of, I'm sure both of the players knows about this position. So after bishop c5, rook f7, I think black has nothing to worry about.
I absolutely agree. I agree that this position really looks looks quite safe for black.
Yes.
And guys, a short reminder for you all, a couple of reminders. First of all, we want to take our sponsors. You can see them behind us, all those logos. The Chinese Chess Association that makes organizes this event, of course. And if you have questions that you would like to pass to our players during the press conferences, please, you are more than welcome to write in the chat or in other social media of FIDE. We will try our best to select the best questions and pass them on to the players. And of course, you're always welcome to subscribe to the channel and like this stream so more people can be exposed to it, of course. So after, if takes e5, because we can see that Ju Wenjun is really taking a lot of time here. She has been thinking for 17 minutes already on this move. She is clearly, for her to calculate this line is about 5 seconds, right?
Yes.
To calculate the line of f5. It's not about calculation, it's about the choice. And we can see that she does decide to take on e5. Queen e5, bishop f6 are already played according to our video stream.
Yes.
The board is also updated right now.
And
we expect Lei Tingjie to play queen d6. There are not many other sensible moves here.
Plays it.
She already plays it, as we see. Bishop b2 also a very this is a very forcing line.
They blitz in these moves.
And they blitz these moves. Now Lei Tingjie does have some choices, right? She needs to really decide here whether she goes for bishop takes c5 or she takes the pawn
on d7 instead.
She cannot really. I don't think she has other options because she is a pawn down now.
Yes. For example, if you play a4, which I think is really a move we're not seeing in the game, black can play rook f7. This is
at least
so because
and basically you will need to take on c5, and then you ask yourself, if I take on c5 and the black plays rook f8, am I going to play a4?
Yes.
Right? Not sure, and probably not. By the way, I have a question. So let's say we do take on c5, and I think this position is where 99% of Ju Wenjun's time was spent, right? When she was thinking, she was trying to understand if this can become. It looks safe, especially when you have an engine and the bar says it's 0, 0, 0. But when you need to calculate, you really want to make sure there are no unpleasant surprises for you, right?
Yes.
So I would, when calculating, I would consider a move like this with the idea of white rook entering the 7th rank. I would consider bishop c5 followed by bishop takes a7. Right?
Yes.
So this is a move because, for instance, I can imagine like moves like rook c4 running into queen e6, right? And you're pawn down after all. So is this drawing? Is this not drawing? Is this pleasant? Because you remember last game.
This is very similar.
It can become very similar to what we had in the last game, only throw in a couple of minor pieces and you have the same position. And one inaccuracy by Lei Tingjie there, not taking the pawn on a3 immediately, allowing white to get this slight edge. As black, you really want to make sure you don't get into this.
Yes.
So the thought of the world champion is well understood, but I think even this looks quite safe, right? For
yes. I really cannot.
We are a pawn down, but this one is hanging by four. So you cannot, for instance, just go back because rook a4 and we just take back the pawn. Even if you win the pawn on e6, 3 against 2, you're really not winning on this level those games. So, and if we exchange, then I think white cannot even keep this pawn.
Yes.
Right.
Actually, there's some games like Carolina against Carson in the men's world champion. There's a game like white has rook on f1 and and fg h pawn. Black has rook and gh pawn, and they just agree to a draw.
They agree to a draw because on this level they really don't.
They even not try.
Don't even try exactly. So, of course, both players are very well aware of this. You can see Lei Tingjie is ready to make a move. She is making sure. If I'm not mistaken, she is ready to accept that this is a drawish endgame, but maybe she wants to try this, the one where you let black keep the pawn on c5. So to take on d7, basically.
Yes, I will take.
And take on a7
yes.
somehow, maybe like this. But this is rook d8, and then you kind of exchange the rooks by force. So maybe you want to try to go and try this, hoping that you somehow, because again, if we imagine that both pairs of rooks are exchanged, then white might claim that she is better, right? Because she has the better bishop, and probably not enough even this. But
and we need to mention if white managed to put her king on e4, it's really
that would be a dream position for us. And she took one pawn, but I think she took the c pawn.
Yes, because I cannot see the bishop on the camera.
She takes the c pawn, and now it's interesting. By the way, if the rook was not hanging on a fate, rook c6 would ask very unpleasant questions, right? Oh, but we would even have, even in this scenario, we would have queen takes c6, so this is nothing to worry about. So we expect rook f7 to happen here, right?
Yes, this is a very basic position in style in this line. So I think rook f7 will be played on the board. And actually, now maybe Lei thinks bishop after bishop a7, rook. Maybe for Ju Wenjun, she needs to make sure rook c4 is a move or is a good move or not, because rook c for queen e6, you're kind of losing a pawn at least in some moves.
Yes, maybe we can have you know, maybe we have a move like queen c7.
Yeah,
the bishop, attacking here, attacking c4,
yes.
and after the queen exchange, a3 will be hanging. So
yes, this is really.
And I think the world champion is ready to make a move. No, she is. It looked for a second that she was already reaching for to make a move, but she still wants to check some things. As she should, because she has plenty of time. More than 20 moves have been played already. We're actually on move 21, or no, sorry, we are exactly on move 20 by white after bishop takes c5. And both players have plenty of time. They have over 50 minutes each for the next 20 moves. This is more than enough, of course, in such position.
Yes.
Which actually I would say that I don't think it will last that many moves the game, because it really looks like black managed to equalize, and what's more important is that the position is really very dry.
Yes. This is a position which both players cannot create too much counterplay in this game. For example, the game 6, we said maybe some kind of ego game from the start to the end, but during the game, white always has a pair of bishops in like at least 30 moves, and this is some unbalanced things in the game. But in this position, I could not imagine what can white create to give, for example, I have a better pawn style, or I have some passed pawns. It's really not easy on the board. Actually, if rook f7, we said bishop a7, queen c7 played by black, I even preferred black in this position.
Yeah, because black does have, I would agree, because black does have a slightly better pawn structure.
Yes, but of course the position is totally
but it's
equal.
still, yeah, it doesn't really matter how you look at it. It is drawish. And rook f7 is on the board as you expected, and we shall really see very soon how white wants to go about this. If you are Lei Tingjie, are you annoyed with this game? Are you unhappy, or are you okay with this? Because this is, you know, this is part.
Yes, actually, first I want to say if I'm Lei Tingjie, I will be upset with the position now. I must be upset because I play white and even not give my opponent some pressure in this game until now. But actually, I think now for white to from the start, we can see white players always push for win and has no hesitation to make some risk moves. But now it's only 4 rounds left. After this, only 3 rounds left. When you play white, you will be in some pressure that I cannot lose this game. So this will influence in all the game, because when you play black, unless I have a winning position. If I haven't got a winning position, any position, okay, I draw. I play with black. I draw. It's fine. But for white, you need to consider. I can probably I should win. I could not draw. Some emotions in your mind will be not good for you. So I think like 4 rounds left, 3 rounds left. Play for white is an advantage, but it's also a very risky thing. So
I agree. It is indeed a double-edged sword, so to speak, because if you if you overpush, so sometimes, and especially after a loss, after you have lost a game,
Yes.
it's often advisable to take this pause. In the Soviet, in USSR, it was really believed that whenever you lose a game, the next game you should really make a draw. Doesn't
Yes.
even matter, black, white, whatever. Just make a draw, relax, and just allow yourself this
Yes.
break from.
Refresh your
Yes.
emotion.
Okay.
We are with one of our commentators, Shu Yi. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
You are a commentator, as I mentioned, in the Women's World Championship match. You are an extremely strong player yourself. And please tell me, how well do you know the players?
For Ju Wenjun, she is my Shanghai teammate. We often play some Chinese league, some team tournaments. Actually, we have played the Pro Chess League this year, and she is a player who is extremely strong, and she likes to play some positional games and very good at playing the end games. For Lei Tingjie, she is a Chongqing's player, and she is almost the same age as me. So I know her. I know she is a very good, very excellent player when she was young, and always improve her chess. And in this match, I think she plays really well. So and she is more active and attacking players, according to Ju Wenjun.
Mm-hmm. And tell me, have you ever played one of them yourself?
Sorry.
Have you ever played one of them yourself?
Yes, I played Lei Tingjie in 2011, I think.
Oh wow, that's a long time ago.
Yes, in Asian Youth Championship in Philippines, and the game was drawn, and she played the men's section in
right.
Open 12 or Open 10. I don't remember it very clear, and actually she has a chance to win this tournament in the last round, but she lost. If she wins the tournament, so she is really strong. And I haven't played against Ju Wenjun in classical games.
All right. Well, since you have quite a rich history with both of the players, and you follow the games very closely every day because you sit in the studio and
Yes.
see how the games develop. So has there been something in this match that surprised you?
I think the first thing surprised me a lot is Lei Tingjie's opening preparation. She almost a lot of games she prepares well and has a half an hour leading in the opening against Ju Wenjun. And for Ju, I think she's endgame skill makes me a very deep memory, because she always can make the tiny advantage and become bigger, and makes the very equal position at the last. She has some chance to win. So both players have very good chess skills.
For sure, they're both brilliant. And how do you think, again, you know them well, they know each other extremely well, according to what we hear, they are good friends. Do you think it makes it more difficult for them to play against each other?
I think so, because they are known as good friends in China, or a lot of people knows they are good friends, and also they plays in some like Olympic games and world teams. So they know each other very well, and I think that means their teams also knows each other very well. So it's hard to beat your friends. So actually, they made a lot of draws, there's a few more games. We're looking forward what will happen next.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you what do you expect from the last couple of rounds that we have still in this championship?
I think now Lei is leading, so I think Ju will push for win. In the last few games, I was looking forward to their performance. For Lei, maybe she needs to be careful about what she will meet.
For sure. And so, do you think we will see a lot of, the matches going to very tense part? So, do you think we'll see some more risky choices?
Yes. And I hope for it.
All right, that's nice. A very confident answer. And tell me, lastly, how has it been for you, the experience? You're a commentator at the World Championship match. This is incredible.
Yes, it's a very unforgettable memory, and it's very amazing, exciting for me to become the commentator in such a big tournament. And I think for me, Alik is really a good partner. He helps me a lot. And sometimes because for me if I want to say something in English, I need to say it in my mind with Chinese, then translate, then I speak. And sometimes I cannot say it very well. Then Alik will help me in the situation. He knows I cannot hold to say it well, and he will help me. So I really learn a lot from him, and it's really a good experience for me. Thanks for everyone.
Oh wow, that's incredible to hear. Thank you. Thanks to both of you. You are an amazing team that you bring this championship. So have an exciting last couple of games. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Which of the two will fight to the end and become the new queen? Which of the two will resist the pressure and finally hold the trophy of the victory? Which of the two will inherit the glory of the East? Very soon the battle of wisdom is about to begin. A breathtaking confrontation across the chessboard is imminent.
那我觉得每一次对抗赛都是不同的。我的目标就是认真的去消耗每一
Ju
盘棋。
Wenjun has a really strong heart. She will excel at seizing any opportunity. Her willpower will be released on the chessboard, determined to retain her title and stay at the
以
top.
前的比赛每一场棋其实都会是难忘的，但是我觉得在接下来的这场比赛将会是我职业生涯当中最难忘的一场比赛。
Lei Tingjie is the new challenger. She will fight for every inch of the board, eager to showcase her fresh energy and aspiration. Two strong players from the mysterious East, the best teammates and toughest opponents. On the stage of 64 white and black squares, they will demonstrate their best performance and unveil unlimited, exciting possibilities.
Welcome back, everybody, to Game 9 of the World Championship match between Lei Tingjie and the challenger and the world champion Ju Wenjun. Lei Tingjie is playing a white here today, The score after 8 rounds is tied, 4 points each player. Today, Shu, not the best opening for achievements for white.
Yes.
But Lei Tingjie is trying to find ways to keep the game going, right? Let's see. She found a way to. She played Rook B1, a very interesting move.
Yes.
But I want to ask you, what happens if I just play Rook C6 here?
Rook C6 will meet by Rook B2. That's I found when we just saw the video.
B2.
Yes, it's a trap.
Sacrificing the queen, but here, if you take the queen, Rook
B8 is unstoppable.
Unbelievable.
Yes, yes, and if black
if we go away, run away, check. We will. The only move is Rook F8, and we lose the game with the checkmate. So this is even in such a seemingly calm position. There are threats. There are traps to be avoided.
Actually, I'm really surprised that Lei Tingjie can find this, because just as I mentioned it before, I think Bishop A7 or maybe goes for a draw is what I
almost
do.
Automatically you check those moves, and you kind of, you know, how our mind works. We kind of cross such moves off, because we say, okay, this probably doesn't work because of this, and we
Yes.
go on, right?
And actually, Rook C6 is a move you will always think about in this kind of positions.
Absolutely, because if not that, then Rook C6 hitting the queen, hitting the bishop is just winning a piece, basically. So
Yes.
very impressive chance by Lei Tingjie. What are we to expect by black here? So it should be said that if black has to go back, then it feels like it's a good achievement. It's an achievement by white, right?
Yes.
Even if we take the pawn on a7, or we decide maybe to keep it, the rook, or can we keep it? Bishop e7
Bishop
is a
E7.
threat, right? So
Yes. So maybe Bishop A7, I think is
Bishop a7, then
how can black continue?
let's say if now we go here, is it
Yes.
a move we can do, because there is no queen e6 anymore?
Yes, but maybe Rook B8 and
Rook b8.
you have to
queen
play
c8,
Rook. And the first one I want to
something
yes,
like this. Even,
Rook
yes?
B1, yes.
This might be trouble for black. Yes, at least
Yes.
quite unpleasant. It has to be said, because we are threatening to take on c8. The second round rook comes. It's a pressure. It's far from draw, right? The draw,
Yes.
it's not. It might be equal. Black might be holding, but this is not what you want to get if you are black.
And such as this position, just like we mentioned it before, for white, even to create a passed pawn is not easy. But in the what we said it in the variation after Bishop A7, Rook C4.
You mean here? Yes.
Yes, I
If
mean
we go back.
Yes, the passed pawn on A3 is also dangerous for black.
Absolutely. So we really don't want this to happen, right? If we are black, how can we prevent white from keeping the pawn on a3 alive?
Yes.
Is
First,
queen c7 a move like we saw earlier?
yes, I'm checking this move.
The bar says no. This far I can see.
Yes, but
Why is that? Why is it so bad?
actually I haven't found why is this so bad. I think I know, because I can play Queen C7 and the Rook C7, Bishop D6, and now you have two moves to play. First, Rook C6, I will play C5. I think it's
we can keep the bishop. This one has to go, and then Rook B8 is just a game over because it's checkmate. And
Yes.
if we play rook b7,
And then bishop e5, yes.
bishop e5, hitting the bishop is pinned. So, not so easy, not so fast. You cannot play queen c7 here.
Yes. So,
So it looks like we have to go back, right?
yes,
The
actually,
computer says we have a move like queen a5. I was not suggesting it even because,
oh, it's
well, when I see queen e5, the first move I look at is bishop b4. It looks very, very unnatural, all that is going. If we have
Yes.
to go queen e5 or bishop e5, like
Wow.
the computer is suggesting, then white has moves like queen e6, bishop a5. The computer, guys, is somehow managing to still keep showing 0, 0, 0 here. I'm not entirely convinced. Of course, it can be calculated, it can be found by black. It feels, although it feels that in this
Some
position, you
strange.
shouldn't need to resort to this
Yes.
kind of geometry to keep the balance.
as actually when I played my match, I know the position is some kind of ego. When, for example, I just play this position in my match, I know this kind of position is totally equal, and I don't want to take some risk like queen a5. I just want to play bishop f6. Some moves I know I maybe will give white some little advantage, but I don't want to take a risk. And if I, for example, queen a5, if white play bishop b4, it's and if I cannot play bishop e5 or queen e5, then I lost with
Absolutely.
this kind of easy draw position. I don't want to take this risk. So I'm really surprised the Lei Tingjie can find this rook
This
b1.
is a great resource by the challenger. Although again, the machines say that the balance is still there.
Yes.
It does put pressure on black.
Yes.
That's for sure. So if we go, as we said, after a move like bishop f6, we take on a7.
So here,
And here,
can we play queen c7? This
maybe here queen c7. Yes, maybe
Yes.
this is a move. We can make again hitting 3 pieces at once. It needs to be seen that white. So our point is that our problem is that we cannot keep both of these
Yes.
pieces alive. But what's and it's also important, I think, that if we take on c4, the rook prevents the pawn from start running, right?
yes. And if I go with white, I will play bishop b8, which seems the most promising move for me. And bishop d6. How?
Threatening checkmate in 2.
Yes.
And black will probably need to make. Now, I don't like the rook here. It's a
Yes.
little bit. I love your transferring the bishop to d6, but I have a question.
Yes.
Is this not a move I can make?
I like this move for black because
And
rook
the
b8.
point is that rook b8. I'm
Yes.
hitting your rook. What is? Wow, we didn't even consider. Let's
What?
go back. Bishop e5.
Wow.
By the world champion. What a move.
Yes.
For a second, I thought it was a DGT board mistake, because sometimes, you know, when you make this long move, you press a bit too hard on one of the squares and the board thinks the piece is there. But the point of the world champion is that after queen e5, it's not a blunder. She hits the queen and then wins back the bishop,
And
forcing the exchange of bishops. And this is, you can see on Lei Tingjie's face.
she is also a little bit shocked.
Yes, she also is. She looks shocked, but I really, really love the technicality of this. The beauty, you know, the computer again. The computer might say that you have 5 different moves that
Yes.
keep the balance here, but from a human perspective, you really want to make, there are different 0-0-0s in positions.
Such a position.
And this is a position that you know that once we have traded the bishops, the game is really drawn.
Yes.
So very, very, very nice move by Ju Wenjun.
So in this position, maybe you have 5 or 4 lines, like all of them are 0.00. But I would like to say Bishop E5 is the best move.
Yes, I love this move, and for such moves, we love this game because it really. Yes. So let us just elaborate a little bit why we are so excited about this move. First of all, not a blunder, not a piece blunder, as we said. The queen will be hit. It has to be said that Queen E5 is a must-play move, and we see that Lei Tingjie already played Queen E5. And now, after Rook F5, Black Rook, first of all, as we said, as we saw in the last line, where you put the bishop on D6 and the Rook on F7 was kind of out of game, so we needed to find maneuvers how to bring it back to life. Now, the world champion shows why she is the world champion. She finds a way to activate this rook immediately with a tempo. Moreover, it doesn't matter. Let's say the queen goes to D4. The rook will take C5, hitting the pawn on C4, and it is now white who needs to actually make sure that she doesn't lose this pawn on C4.
Yes.
Which is, it should be said, quite easily achieved by her. She can just
Rook Fd1, Rook B7. So many moves.
Right. So maybe this is even the easiest. Although again, you need to calculate some lines because here all of a sudden Black is the first one to start targeting the pawns, and you don't yet have the option to double on the 7th rank because there is checkmate, so you will need to play a move like F3 first, or a move I like more like G3 move.
Yes.
But then again, in the next move you play Rook B7, but look at this position, guys. It is Black who has the extra pawn. It is White who is forcing the draw here.
Yes.
And again, we didn't maybe play the most correct way by White, but it just shows how elegantly the world champion solved her problems with Bishop E5. And again, not a flashy combination, a move which really, as we have said before on this, you know what you want to achieve strategically, positionally, and you employ tactics to achieve that, right? And this is exactly what is happening here. Ju Wenjun knew that she wants to exchange the bishops, that she wants to get into this heavy pieces endgame, and she found a way to do that.
Yes. Actually, as we mentioned before, in Dana's speech yesterday, she also said like 90%. I don't remember 90% or 99% of the chess is tactics.
Yes. Yes, she said it again, and we actually had a conversation about this. Because really nowadays, especially nowadays, and we also spoke about it here, you no longer see those 25 move plans brought from inception to completion without any interruption. You need to calculate, alternate, and calculate again and alternate again your plans, because your opponent is not just sitting there occupying a chair. She or he are also thinking how to beat you. So Rook F5. What is the most precise way, so to speak, for White to play here? Do we play Queen D6? Do we play Queen D4? Do we?
I have to say, this position I really don't have too much to push for a win. Maybe I will go Queen D4 or Queen D6 and then Rook B7.
Rook B7, yes. Rook B7 does look like a very good way to make a draw. Although, again,
Rook
C7, if you take queen takes here.
Yes, this
And
I really
you
don't.
are running a risk to be worse, actually, with white. It has to be said,
Yes,
right?
but
Because this rook that was it was the problem of black's position is suddenly the most active piece on the board.
yes, I would like to give this rook a name like a golden rook.
Golden rook.
Yes, because this position is so strong, the most, the strongest position for black. And but rook c7, maybe I can play rook a7. I'm not sure. When you play the rook c7,
you have this one. This is.
but for black it's still a draw. Rooks.
And if we go here, then you
I can
have
yes,
queen
d4
defending the rook, and of course we will take here.
Yeah.
And this is probably the right way to do it, right? We don't take it. We want to take the pawn with the tempo.
Yes, and I think queen b6.
Queen b6 is a
Yes.
good move here. Pinning this the queen and the rook, and this really is very, very drawish, all of it. But Lei Tingjie now again, she needs to find the precise way to make sure, because as we have seen, there are ways where you can imagine how white gets worse here, right?
Yes, actually, rook
It's hard to imagine how black gets worse, but
Yes.
it's quite easy to imagine how white can get worse here.
Actually, bishop e5 is not only a move just to exchange the bishop. Ju Wenjun put her f7, rook to c5.
Yeah,
Because
that's the biggest achievement. Guys, you are asking, there are questions in the chat, what is the score? The score is level, 4 games each. After 8 rounds, this is round 9 of a 12 game match between the world champion Ju Wenjun and the challenger Lei Tingjie. The match is played in 2 cities in China. The first half took place in Shanghai. The second part is taking place in Chongqing, the hometown of Lei Tingjie. So far, the player having the home advantage is not having the best results there.
Yes.
Right? Ju Wenjun, she is from Shanghai. She ended the first half trailing by 1 point, but coming to Chongqing, she managed to equalize the score in the previous game, and now she is very confidently making a draw in the game 9 of the match.
And look at the action from 2 players. I think Ju Wenjun is the one who really is satisfied with the position.
Yes, and then it's bishop e5 is also such a pleasing move to
Yes.
make. You know that when you find that setup, the way to get what you want to neutralize your opponent's pressure. And we can see Lei Tingjie is not entirely happy with her position, although of course it is a drawish position, but she needs to be a little bit careful now. I think queen d6 and rook d1 are the most natural moves, but again, she has already, this game is not played alone in a universe. We have
Yes.
the memory of the previous 8 games. We have the memory of the last game, where she had very, very similar situation. She needed to make 1 or 2 accurate moves to make sure the draw is there. She didn't make it. She made one slight mistake, another slight mistake, and she got a lost position after
Yes.
all, or at least a very difficult position, which was difficult to defend. So she really wants to make sure that nothing of this kind happens to her today. And queen d4 or queen d6?
Actually,
What's your prediction?
I think Alik, you said queen d6. I play rook fc5, and you want to play rook fd1. I think this is not very good because I can play rook c4. And if you play, I will take. take on d7, and I goes rook c1. Of course, I think it's still a draw, but rook d1, I will take on b1 or d1 is I choose, and I play rook c3.
Rook c3.
I really don't think you want to
Absolutely.
go to a
you
position.
don't want to go into this position at all, because you, as you pointed out, you lose this pawn. Again, it is drawish. Yeah, you can draw this, but not. You don't want to get there.
Yes.
You don't want to have 4 against 1 with this passing pawn. It has to be said that theoretically this position is considered to be draw, because white will keep the rook behind. It's quite an important actual position. We can talk about it a little bit. So white keeps the rook behind the pawn on the a file while the pawn advances. We can even maybe show it. So once we reach this position, the point is that white will wait for black to decide what she wants to do with the pawn. If black pushes the pawn until a2, white simply will just wait, because black can never bring the king to promote this pawn, because whenever the king reaches b3 and the rook is ready to leave the a1 square, white will just start checking the king, forcing the king to go back away from the pawn, and then the rook will just go back attacking this pawn. The important thing for white to keep is not to leave these 2 squares, so black rook cannot leave the a1 square with a check.
Yes.
However, if black, the only way for black to win this game is to keep the pawn on a3 and start bringing the king somehow to b3, and then if white starts checking, the king will hide on a2, freeing the rook to leave. But because the pawn is is still far from promotion, whenever black eventually let's make it happen. So whenever black actually, well, in this formation, it's even very difficult for black king to even leave
yes.
the 8th rank. But even if it could, let's pretend it could leave the 8th rank. So let's make a bad move for white. Okay, we let the king away. But now white will start picking up pawns, not here, because we are under check. So we will at least make sure, if we just give away gifts, we will take a pawn. I'm not sure we can take here.
I think
maybe we can take
no problem.
Here.
Yeah.
And then we will take this pawn. And now, once black manages to free the rook, what we normally do is we just give up. Well, of course not like this. We will give up the rook on a1 or a2, doesn't matter, whenever it can. But those running pawns provide at least sufficient compensation. And actually, I would say that oftentimes black, the stronger side, if he or she overpush, they are the one facing the danger of losing the game, because the defending side is really very comfortable in making this draw. But again, not a position you want to play with white by any means. And you can see on your screen by Lei Tingjie's posture, she is not relaxed. She knows she needs to find some concrete, some good moves to make sure
to make a draw the position.
And this is basically one move ago. Here, we were praising her for finding rook b1. We were finding ways for black to make a draw.
Yes.
But, after this very strong bishop e5 move, it is white who needs to be cautious in what she does.
This bishop e5 move is really.
I'm very impressed. Yes.
Yes. really shows the strength from Ju Wenjun. But actually, I think both of the players should know the position we just analyzed. And as Alex tell us how to make draw with white, they know how to draw, but
of course, but you know, the difference between knowing how to make a draw and actually going in this position to make a draw, you kind of feel that you don't want to give your opponent this opportunity to squeeze, to play. You don't want to defend for 40 moves unless you have to. If you have to, of course you go, but not from a position that you felt that you are the one who, that your opponent is the one that should make the draw, right?
Yes.
So you really want to make sure, if you can, that the draw is there in an easier way.
Yes.
And maybe rook b7, what you suggested, is the way to do that. So maybe queen d6,
rook c5,
and
rook b7.
Yes, maybe that's...
Yes, because rook a7, we mentioned it before, it's the same as...
And if we go rook with the other rook?
Yes, but you go back with your golden rook.
Yes, I am aware of it, but what to do? A pawn is a pawn.
Yes, I need to check rook fb1.
Maybe rook fb1.
No,
yes.
I'm not sure,
but
because
then again, you can take and take on c4, right?
Yes.
So we have this issue with the back rank.
Anyway, black is a pawn up. You.
No, but now maybe you win it back by force. Maybe this is
yes, this is
go,
an easy way. Yeah. After g3, I think maybe black is the one to make.
Again, black is the one who needs to make the draw. Yes.
Yes, but when I play rook fb1, can you play rook c4
immediately?
Immediately, yes. I'm not sure.
And what is the difference if we go like that?
Rook
you just go back, yeah?
Yes.
And what's your next move?
Good question.
So, for instance, if we make a move like h4 or a4.
Yes. Well, it's just one
nice.
for.
There is no move for black, yeah?
Yes.
a5, we play a4.
It's a drawish position. Maybe still black is the one to...
Yes, but you know, to see it from far away... Oh, and we have it on the board. Queen d6, rook c5, rook b7 has been played by Lei Tingjie. Actually, I think this is quite... this line of rook c7 is quite likely to happen, I would say.
Yes. I think...
Because after rook c7, you don't have many other moves. Because, for instance, if you take on c7, I would argue that we take with the queen.
Yes, right? This is the position black is better. Okay.
Yeah, maybe if we don't change the queens, then I'm not sure how better
yes,
you are.
Queen
yes,
d3.
because
yes.
we can keep queen d3 or queen d4.
Yes, yes.
White's only problem here is basically we need one move to make a luft for the king, and then it's all over. And if this is again because of this pawn, even if you win somehow. So when I'm calculating, right, you want to make sure that if you miscalculate something, you're still out of danger. So here I would even consider that, okay, even if you somehow manage to put a lot of pressure on a3,
and even you take it.
I have, or even take it, I have enough compensation
yes.
to make the draw. So I'm quite confident here that I'm out of trouble.
Yes.
And if I have to compare between this and the rook endgame, I always go here, right?
Yes,
because
of course.
And again, this one even runs into the nice rook takes a7, although again, maybe where we don't... but here we have to do this.
Yes, here queen
with
c7.
the rook on c5, you cannot keep the queens alive. Although you maybe have queen e7 here.
Yes, but maybe
why?
just h6.
Just h6.
Yes. I would like to say, even if you play queen e8 and even you put your rook on b8, I was also not too scared.
Yeah, because I agree. So, for instance, although I don't even have a chance to do
Yes. Okay. For example, you play rook b1. I just play king h8. King h8. Maybe.
King h8.
Yes. Give you a chance to play.
You mean you want to give me the chance? Yeah.
Yes.
So the point is that here there is really only a couple of checks.
Yes. Maybe the best for white is purple check.
Yeah. So, but this can become sometimes tricky. You know, if the rook goes to g8 or h4, h5.
Yes. But
all in all, you feel it's somehow a draw, but you really don't want to go into this mess. And if you manage to find a move like rook a7, you obviously make it because.
And rook a7 is very obvious, I think. So after rook a7, can black play rook c6, rook 4 c6? Rook 5 c6? Yes, and rook c4.
Yeah, and that's where
we reached before. Rook c6, yes.
I think I can keep the pressure, and I want rook a7.
Yes, rook c5, rook king b6.
Maybe this is how a game ends here. Because
yes.
This could be one of the ways, at least. So rook b7. All in all, if I'm white, I'm quite happy with this move.
Yes.
Forcing the matters a little bit. Now let's see what happens if we take on c4.
I think
feels a bit scary, right?
Yes, rook d7 seems the natural move.
Hitting both the queen
and also
a7.
a7.
So you will need to keep an eye on e6, and then white is the one who is trying to win, if any.
Yes.
Yeah, so this looks quite comfortable, right? It looks as if the challenger found a good way to make sure nothing bad happens. She doesn't have to defend for a long time. And is there another way that we have not discussed for black to try and play for a win?
I think I think in this position I will. I think white was the side which
again white is pressing. Yes,
yes.
Somehow. But okay, but here if we play a rook 5 c7, I'm not sure. Is it white who is playing?
Rook c7. I will go for rook fb1 if I.
You would go for a rook fb1. Yeah,
yes. Of course, rook c7 is a move. I think just a drawish for both sides.
And if we take,
I think g3.
G3, yeah, and G3 is slightly.
Yes, but
but even this, yes.
Yes, even rook c6 is also very drawish.
Rook c6.
Yes, it's
good. Yes. As you can see, all the roads. Oh, but you know, I have maybe check. No, I was having a slight hallucination. I thought that after king g2 I have queen a8, pinning your rook, but you don't need the rook on pin.
Yes.
You just take on d7, protect the rook, and go for a checkmate on the 7th. Okay, let's try to guess. What will the world champion choose?
I goes for rook 8 c7 for the world champion because I
8 c7.
I think she can fund this movie is the
well, you were wrong. This is why you're not a world champion.
Yes.
She played rook 5 c7.
And Alik, it's your time to guess rook fb1 or rook c7 for Lei Tingjie here.
I think rook c7 with queen d3 or queen d4.
After rook c7 exchanged?
Yes, and if I would think so. Because rook fb1 really involves at least a temporary pawn sacrifice.
Yes.
Well, my wager is there. I'm saying rook takes a7. Guys, we will take a short break because we have discussed this position in length. Let the players think. We'll be back very shortly. So stay on the other side of this break.
Which of the two will fight to the end and become the new queen? Which of the two will resist the pressure and finally hold the trophy of the victory? Which of the two will inherit the glory of the East? Very soon the battle of wisdom is about to begin. A breathtaking confrontation across the chessboard is imminent.
那我觉得每一次对抗赛都是不同的。我的目标就是认真的去下好每一
Ju
盘棋。
Wenjun has a really strong heart. She will excel at seizing any opportunity. Her willpower will be released on the chessboard, determined to retain her title and stay at the
以
top.
前的比赛每一场棋其实都会是难忘的，但是我觉得在接下来的这场比赛将会是我职业生涯当中最难忘的一场比赛。
Lei Tingjie is the new challenger. She will fight for every inch of the board, eager to showcase her fresh energy and aspiration. Two strong players from the mysterious East, the best teammates and toughest opponents. On the stage of 64 white and black squares, they will demonstrate their best performance and unveil unlimited, exciting possibilities.
2018年，我第一次拿到了女子世界冠军。2020年对戈尔亚奇金娜那一次对抗赛，在快棋中扳平比分，在后在加赛中战胜对手。每一次对抗赛它都是不同的，但对我来说，我的目标就是去认真的去下好每一盘棋。不管是在棋上，包括在生活上，我觉得。 我可能要比之前的稳重一点吧，不能说成熟，更稳重一些。现在来说，我也做好准备去迎接这一次的挑战。It's kind of different because when you know your opponent, she knows you well. So for me, I feel it's something new. I mean, in this match, every game is I will do my best. I think I will just try to play every game as best as I can, and also I hope I can to win the match. 战斗到底是我不变的信念和态度，成功卫冕，让属于自己的时代继续。
从候选人赛结束以后，其实时间挺赶的。 上一次赢下来了以后呢，心里面也是挺开心的，相当于是打了一个强心剂。每一场棋其实都会是难忘的，但是我觉得在接下来的这场比赛将会是我职业生涯当中最难忘的一场比赛。I think play against a friend is quite interesting, and also for me, she's not only the friend, and she's also a great player in China. So for me, I just respect her very much. I would like to challenge myself. To be honest, because this is my dream, I would like to say I want to win this match. Now probably it's the last step. No, I don't think this is the last step. I prefer to be a simple person. Winning the match is like a goal for me. I mean, I'm a person who likes enjoying to play chess. Results can't change anything for me. 用挑战去创造另一种可能，因为无畏，所以无惧。
Welcome back, guys. For the rest of the game between Ju Wenjun and Lei Tingjie, the match score is tied 4 points each after 8 rounds. We are streaming live in game 9, and I did not guess the move. So Lei Tingjie did play Rook FB1 as you predicted, Chu. And after Rook takes c4, she played a g3 as we expected. Now, Black does have temporarily an extra pawn.
Yes.
But as we said, and Ju Wenjun played Rook c7 in this position, very quick. Both players are playing quite quickly. And now it's a very, very nice position where Black does have this extra pawn on d7, but if she wants to keep it, none of her pieces can move because the rook on c7 needs to be protected. The rook itself cannot really move from c7 because d7 will be hit or a7 will be lost.
So
how does she continue here? So another one thing that Black could try is to bring the king to support the d7 square. Sounds long and frankly very inefficient.
yes, I don't think Black will go this. I think maybe, for example, let's say White play a4 or h4.
Yeah, f4 looks like a good, healthy move to me.
I think Ju Wenjun will take on b7 here. Rook b7, and I'm not quite sure here Rook c6 is a move or not.
Rook c6. So you're basically you want
Yes.
to take and to be able to play Rook a6, being the first one to the a file, forcing White's Rook
Goes to d4,
to
and
d4.
it's really easy
And
draw.
this is a draw. White, I would argue, is nominally better, but of course it's not even nothing to even speak about.
Yes.
And if we do not take on d7,
Yes, but
then what do we do? Of course, it has to be said, Rook d7 is a
Yes.
big blunder because the rook takes the queen and
it's just a lost.
just dead lost, of course, for White. So Rook c6 is a nice move for Black. Can we play Queen d4 here?
Yes, this is what I
Hoping for you to
wonder.
play d5, then I can land the checkmate.
Yes.
But I know you will not fall for that. not so easy.
I'm.
But here I would say that white actually has some
Yes.
advantage. Yes. Although the computer says it's a draw, still we are not computers. We'll probably not be computers anytime soon. So for a human,
It's
if
not
white
easy.
has an extra pawn and white will win the a7 pawn sooner or later, or rather sooner than later, this pawn can become very dangerous, right? Especially
Yes.
given the fact that you have weakened. So the problem for black is that the king is weakened in this pawn structure. So Lei Tingjie plays a king g2, which is actually also a move I like a lot. It
Yes.
makes sure you don't have a bailout with rook c1. And now this is a very, very interesting position.
Yes. And I think Ju Wenjun will not go for a move like Queen f8. I'm not sure computer will say because after Queen f8, I think maybe it's still a draw. Yes, according to the engine. But after Queen c7, I'm sure.
Oh, God,
yes, black will not go for this.
It is clearly only one, especially since the 7th rank is all to. It's only for white
Yes.
here, so black doesn't really want to go there so fast.
So what?
And so we have another game that Lei is a pawn down for initiative.
Yes.
She really, even here, she found a way to sacrifice a pawn, and
And actually, I think the position is white who has the active to play for a win.
yeah, absolutely. I think so. And for this reason, I would even say that probably rook c8 c7 was a slightly more practically precise way to go for black.
Yes. Because I think rook 8 c7, rook a7, maybe Ju Wenjun thinks rook a7 and just stop thinking about this line because after rook a7 seems like black is the one who needs to play for a draw. And rook 5 c7, maybe she think I'm a pawn up, I really don't worry about this position. And Ju Wenjun played a5.
a5 in this position, a move that we must say it's really asking to be played.
Yes.
To remove at least one pawn from the
yes.
7th rank, right? So
this is an important move because maybe next move rook b7 and rook c6 is a plan here.
rook b7 and rook. Oh
yes, you have
because let's show it.
For example, a4 for white or h4.
So for instance, if we play this, then rook takes b7.
Yes.
Rook
And
c6. And now if we take on here.
yes, and I take and rook c4. It's an
c4.
immediate draw.
It's basically we get into this position, which is a better version for white of the one that we examined with the pawn where the e pawn would be alive. And if we are white, and by the way, I wanted to ask you, Lei Tingjie has 18 minutes left on her clock.
Yes.
For 13 moves still to be made. How do you feel a4 is played on the board? Do you feel it's
It's enough.
It's more than enough, right?
Yes.
Even
for me, which I am a player, which when my clock is down 20 minutes, I will feel very nervous in the game. But I still think this position is enough for me.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. So a4 has been played by Lei Tingjie. Yeah, I kind of I agree that this is an option to be taken, but again, we don't have to take, right? We can still play queen d4 because this pawn cannot be defended.
Yes, and
if you play a rook c7, for instance, I think
queen b6. Yes,
I have queen b6.
I have to
Rook
go.
c8. I have queen b6, and this would be, I think, one of the nicest draws I've ever seen.
Yes.
I don't remember ever seeing such a pattern for a draw. But in any case, Ju Wenjun is not in a hurry to
do this.
define any, to force any exchanges. She wants to maybe improve her king a little bit first.
Yes. Actually, I think let's say after rook 5 c7, which we think maybe not a good move according to rook 8 c7 makes it more active. Ju Wenjun played all the moves in, I think, less than 30 seconds.
Yes.
So
she has seen this
yes.
position.
She feels very confident, you can see in the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. She kind of knows that
it's enough for a draw.
It's enough for a draw. I have a question. What happens if I make a move like a rook 1b5?
I think I will. Actually, I really think I will go for rook b7 take. I haven't seen because in this line I play a tempo of h6, which only benefits to black, and then rook c6. If you play rook queen d4, I play rook c7, just as we talked before. Queen b6, rook c8. And actually, after rook a 1b5, I don't know if I don't play rook b7, what can I do now? So I will actually for example, Lei played h4 now. I will also go for rook b7. I think a5 and h6, these moves are very experienced. A player who is an experienced player will play it first, because in this case, black, maybe for black, rook b7 is a move which you have to play in the future, but you can play some moves to improve your whole position and then play rook b7, because for white, her plan is to wait till play rook b7, and I don't do anything. I have a lot of moves, even king h2, king g2 doesn't matter for me. But for black, her moves are, I think, less than white. Queen and 2 rooks are not allowed to move. You can only move your king now. So I need to improve my pawns a5
yes.
and h6, and then everything is improved in a good place. I will choose to play rook b7, goes to the rook endgame. Maybe it's really really not a difficult position to make a draw.
Indeed, it does seem it does seem as if both players are pretty much in mutual Zugzwang, so to speak.
Yes.
Not a Zugzwang, but really not nothing by either side to be improved. And you can see now on Ju Wenjun's expression.
Yes,
so she can play, as you said. She can move the kings, the king, and white can move the king. After rook b5, however, white can still, as if I play white here, I still can see a few moves that I can improve. Right?
Yes.
So I can imagine myself playing something like rook b5. I can imagine myself playing h5, which is probably a good move, but it has to be carefully checked. You know, not to allow black all kinds of counterplay against this pawn. What I have to make sure is not to play a move like king h2, because then rook f8, queen f8 might be a bit tricky for me.
Yes.
To play, but all in all, I think I love. So, for instance, I think black will play something like king h7, because frankly I don't see any other.
Actually, if I play black, I will sure to play rook b7. But
rook b7 is really a good way to go.
But I feel.
But again, after queen d4,
rook c7.
Rook c7, as we said.
Interesting draw.
Rook c7. Not trivial though, right? You kind of, and again here, if white wants, she can choose to take the pawn, to win the pawn on a5. Ju Wenjun has played the move king h8.
That's what I want to say. I think king h8 is also a good line. You know what's her plan?
No, please.
I think, for example, if you play rook b2, I just play a random move, and rook c6. This is the difference, because if you play queen d7, let's imagine our king is on g8.
Yes.
I will take, and for example, you play rook c7. I take rook b5. White is the player who tries to play for a win, but now I can just easily play rook c4. Rook b7 is not a threat anymore. I can play rook g8.
Oh,
this is what her plan.
This is clever.
Yes.
But why on h8 and not on h7? Does she want to prevent checks from 3 and etc.? Yeah,
I can
king
only
on h7. King on h7 is probably more vulnerable, because you don't have all those rook c6 ideas. Because I have a check, always I will have a check, right? So
let's
king h8.
Let's put it on the board with your
Yes.
plan, Alik. Rook c6. I have queen d3. A check first, then rook d7.
Yes. So even in such seemingly calm and equal positions, there are ways to go wrong and there are ways to go right, so to speak. And both of those players that we are seeing, they prove that they're here not by chance. They really deserve to be playing the World Championship match, because they are two of the very, very, very best in the world. Again, it might be a non-eventful game, but very high quality. Right?
Yes.
So
actually, the ability of two players to play such a position with tiny advantage, tiny moves to gain some advantage is very strong from two players. It's which I have to say I should respect for them.
Absolutely,
This is
a lot of respect for both. Great players, and all in all, a very balanced and balanced fight so far in this match. So both players are. And rook b2 has been played, yes?
Yes, in the.
So we were making this move to kind of pass the move to black.
Yes.
And actually, I think this is what Lei Tingjie is doing. She is passing a move to black. And asking, okay, because if you have to resort to playing king g8, psychologically it's a bit annoying.
Yes.
Right, if you have to make such a move. Although there is nothing wrong with it, and it's perfectly okay, and probably neither player, maybe this is how the game, by the way guys, maybe this is how the game ends. Neither of the players really, if black doesn't do anything, there is so much as white can improve, right?
Yes.
And I would even argue that
rook b5.
If you play even rook b5, you are not really threatening anything, because you're not threatening to take on a5. So for instance, on a move like rook b5, what if I just go king g8 and start laughing?
I really don't want to say rook c7. I can play for a win.
Rook c7, queen c7. Yeah, you're
joy.
not really playing for a win there, because you're a pawn down after all. Well, you will win back the pawn,
but it's too far away from the win.
As we established, even without a pawn, it's okay for the defending side. But with equal pawns, when black has this diff pawn which can run, there's really nothing white can even hope for.
Yes.
In terms of winning the game, of course. Rook b2. I wouldn't be surprised to see King g8
Yes.
played by the world champion here, and if and the game end in a similar style in repetition. Or she will go for your plan with Rook takes b7 and Rook c6.
Yes, or maybe Rook c6 immediately, but I think maybe King g8 seems.
But King g8
Yes.
maybe is the most precise even way to do so. Another rule we have to remind you guys: players cannot just offer a draw here. The only way for them to make a draw before move 40 is by making it a theoretical draw, a draw by
Yes.
repetition, or a stalemate. Any other way will be is forbidden, and the players are basically they are punished with a loss
For the one who
for
asked
making the
for
draw. But in a match, I think it doesn't really make a lot of
Yes.
sense, because you cannot, even if both of them lose, the match still stays tied. So
Yes.
I'm pretty sure this will not happen. Players, of course, know about this. They are extremely experienced, and nothing of this will happen. And you know, on this level, the players, when they want to make a draw, they find a way to make a draw. Right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this rule really helps you to fight and prevents draws when you are not sure whether you want to continue. It forces you to keep fighting, and this is very good for chess in general, I
Yes.
think. But when you reach such drawish positions, the players will always find a way to make the draw, even if
And
they cannot.
Actually, in recent years, I think this rule is obeyed in some of our main events. Not only the World Champions match.
Yeah, it's a very common. I think it's a very welcome rule, basically, because
Yes.
chess used to, before this rule, chess used to be one of the or the only sport, basically, I know, where you can basically stop in the middle of the fight and
Yeah,
decide,
yes.
okay, let's go home. It's so it gives much more dynamics to the game. It prevents those games that never panned out. Ju Wenjun is thinking, she's maybe calculating force lines, or maybe she is basically deciding, okay, if I just do nothing, can my opponent improve her position, right?
Yes.
Because, okay, when you resort to a move like King G8, King H8 here, you need to really make sure that your opponent doesn't slowly play H5, G4, then G5, G6, and all of a sudden,
Yes.
the same position, you're lost. So. Although, of course, here it doesn't.
Yes, actually, in the position we see King G8 is really a good move. Nothing will happen. No plans for white, but it's a sign like I overdraw. It's a sign like I overdraw. I have.
Yes.
Yes, it's a sign of I show some weakness. I have nothing in this position, and a draw is okay for me. So I think in their games, if it's not if she is not must to do this, I think Ju Wenjun will go for some other moves.
But what, again, as you said, she can take on b7.
She can play Rook c6.
She can play Rook c6.
But maybe she, after she compare about Rook b7, Rook c6, King g8, she thought all the moves, and at last she think maybe I just keep the position is the best move, and then she will go for King g8. Anyway, if Rook c6 can make a immediate draw, she will go for it. If some moves like Rook b7 or Rook c6, she thought, I'm sure this is also a draw, she will go for it.
Absolutely. Actually, yeah, there are things to say for and against this, but if she can find, she can calculate. How about time situation? Both players have 15 minutes for 10 moves in this position.
Yes.
I will be surprised if we see 10 moves still happening in this game, to be honest. But again, you always, in a World Championship match, of course, you always want to make sure you don't give your opponent even the slightest chance, because you know she will use it, right? Anything you do or say might and will be used against you. So, how is the nerve situation? Who do you think is more nervous in general in the match? Not
in this position?
Not in in current match situation after last game, reaching our final 3 games, because we probably should expect this game to be over. And it's again a reminder to you guys, the score is currently equal, 4 games each. This is game number 9. It will probably end in a draw, and we will have 3 games left. 2 games will, 2 white games will have the Ju Wenjun, and the Lei Tingjie will have the only 1 white game left. Who is more nervous?
I think the white pieces will get more nervous. Unless the last game. If they reach the last game, I think the black pieces will get more nervous, because it's at that level, I think even I play white, it's not such a big advantage. But every player wants to wins with white. So I think to play with a win, to play for a win is much difficult than play for a draw, because when you play black, your first destination is to play for a draw. It's okay for a draw, and if I have chance to win, I will go for it. And for example, if white plays for a very equalized position, and she just wants to play for a draw, for black, I think both players will easily accept. So, but for white pieces, they have to play for something to play for a win. And I think this is something emotional. Well, for white pieces, get much nervous.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that since the match is tight, they know, they both I think respect each other very much.
Yes,
and
of
they
course.
know, and we can see it in all the press conferences. They, even when Ju Wenjun was down 1 game, she said, okay, I'm not playing badly, right? Basically admitting, okay, her opponent played just better. There were mistakes made, but generally they really have a lot of respect for each other. So nobody of them feels like they have to win or something, even with white, because they know their position is very strong. King h7 is played on the board by Ju Wenjun. So, and even here, she is playing with the king, but she's not repeating the moves, not show, as you said, not wanting to show any weakness. Lei Tingjie is, as she has shown many times before, she will try until the last move, and even maybe after the last move, she will try everything that can be tried to get the maximum out of this position. But again, there is really not much to be taken out of this position. King h7 does seem like it gives white some chances, and maybe, maybe Ju Wenjun is inviting her opponent into into something. This of course can backfire, but is she trying to provoke Lei to play something like Rook b5, Queen d3 to start attacking on the king side? Or is it just making a move and and passing the move to your opponent.
I think for Ju Wenjun, she really wants white to play something like queen d3, rook b5, everything on the king side, because I think it's really not a way for white to win. Maybe it's a way for white to lose the position. But Alik, I think I really have no idea how white can improve in this position. I want to put this question to Lei Tingjie. She thinks
let her deal with it. But this is, as we said, this is a mutually kind of a mutual Zugzwang position.
Yes.
Both players don't have all of their pieces are standing in positions where they cannot really improve much. And because this is so, we are expecting that some, for instance, if Lei plays a rook b1 here, it is a plain draw for her.
yes.
And she needs to decide whether she wants to try it, or maybe she wants to at least show that she's trying for more with rook b5.
Yes. Rook b. So she played a move?
No, she hasn't played. She is thinking 12 minutes. Each player has 12 minutes to make their last 10 moves. So they should start playing a little bit faster soon, because unless they understand, both of them, that it's not 12 moves that they need to make, but only
yes.
3. The 3 moves that repeat the position 3 times. Maybe that will be the case. Can we? But let's try to find a way to continue. Let's try.
Yes.
For instance, we play h5.
Okay, king h8.
King h8. So if we are like extremely bold, and we play this g4.
If g4, I
Now
start thinking now.
Exactly. Now
Yeah.
I feel that I'm starting to risk a little bit.
Yes.
Right?
Maybe I
Because
take.
I overextended a little bit. I am a pawn down yet.
Yes, I take now some queen g5, queen h4. I'm not
Queen
sure.
g5 now
Yes.
can be very tricky for me.
Actually, after h5, even not play g4, some kind of rook b7, queen g5 is allowed for black to play.
But with after g4, it's much
Yes.
better version. Of somehow the computer says you can still play f3.
Wow,
And Lei Tingjie played h5.
Yes, h5 is a move which works.
But the move is very double-edged, right? So
Yes.
you get this is a move that you want to make normally, right? We are all used to the fact that this you push h4, h5. But as you said, so for instance, but you cannot take now, right?
Yes,
So if
some
you take,
queen d3 will.
take, and if you go, for instance, queen g5 here, then it's somehow. First of all, we have this one. Yeah, the rook on the fifth
yes.
is very strong. It protects h5, and I would argue that black needs to be careful here.
Yes, this is not a good plan.
And Ju Wenjun plays king h8. She
Yes.
has made up her mind that she is not going to try and improve her position. Lei Tingjie knows that she is now the only one who can really force anything. And for this reason, white should be considered better, right?
Yes.
Because if white does nothing, then she can just play rook b1. and,
Yes.
neither side can improve. The problem is that white cannot really improve much, but okay, let's say, okay, I agree that this is g4 is a bit premature. Let me prepare. Let me play rook b5.
I think king g8 or king h7 you
And
can
let's
put it
let's
anywhere.
say
Yeah.
you keep playing king h7. I play king f3,
King
h3,
h8,
king
yes.
h8. Now maybe I go something clever. I try to play f3.
f3 here, I think.
I saw the bar moved a little bit. What was the reason for the move? Maybe after king h3, maybe it's better for me to... Whoa. Oh, I just blunder rook c3 check, and the queen comes to h4.
Yes.
This is game over. So this is how you lose the game, basically, with white.
This is the only chance for black to win this game.
So is to let me play with white, yes. f3.
I think I will go for rook b7 and queen g5.
You take, I take, and rook b5 was played by Lei Tingjie.
Yes.
And queen g5, hitting a pawn on h5.
And if you play rook b5, I think queen c1 is enough.
Because we have weakened a lot, right? So
yes.
the king. Can I take?
I think I will check.
Run away. I cover the d1 square, which is important.
Yes.
So after rook c4, I have f4, and you don't have this check from here.
In this position,
threatening mate in 3, basically, f4.
Maybe queen e4 is the only move. I think rook f4 doesn't work. It really looks like a losing position. So queen e4 should be played.
Queen e4. Now you are threatening some checks.
Yes.
Of your own, which might be very unpleasant for me as well.
Yes.
And if we go here,
and
for white, we know that we can bail out at any time, basically, with this.
Yes.
Okay. So if now it's black's choice where to put the king, and in the lines that we saw, it was quite important not to get checked from the last from the 8th rank. So maybe king h7 is the
yes.
Can we queen d3, queen g6 doesn't really achieve much because it lets black pieces out. We don't want that.
Yes, actually, if I play black, I want to win.
This is how you do it.
Yes,
you play king h7.
Yeah, give you a chance to play queen g6 for win.
Yeah, and now it feels a little bit. That white pieces are really maxed out on their potential to improve.
Yes, maybe white pieces are on the best squares. All the pieces are.
Exactly, but maybe maybe Lei's plan is a simple.
Yes, but
rook endgame.
But this looks really drawish.
Yeah, agreed.
I think.
Yeah, actually, after h5, whenever you play a5, I will have rook c5 hitting this pawn.
Yes.
And getting ready to place my rook behind the pawn once it moves.
And if I play this position, maybe I will go for g6.
Which is a valid move, yeah, and start pushing the pawn, right? Yeah, no need really to worry about anything here with black. But again, psychologically, it's for us it's easy to
yes
to give those general explanations. Okay, white cannot improve. When you are sitting there in Ju Wenjun's chair, and you need to make a move, you have 8 minutes left, and you say that the best you can have is like king. Your decision is basically whether I go back with the king to g8 or h7. You don't feel so well with,
yes,
with your position,
of course.
right? So, and again, we have said it already, but let's. I want to stress it again. Lei Tingjie again finds a way to sacrifice a pawn, but to get a very nice compensation, very nice initiative as a compensation for this pawn sacrifice. So even if we don't have anything concrete, and you know, as black, you really are not, you cannot be sure there is nothing that white cannot improve, right?
Yes, and
the clock is ticking. So
yes, the clock is running, and actually when some high-rated player, for example, some 2,700 play against me, I always lost because of like some position like this. Maybe I just play King G8, King H8, or I just keep my position. I was fine, but sometimes I think I really did this. I will think something like if I don't do anything and then I lost the game, I will regret myself. So I try to be the first one to, for example, play some Rook B7, Rook C6 to change the position. But when I lost, then I come back to room to check my game. I saw, wow, I just don't need to do anything. I just keep my position. It's a draw. And maybe next time the opposite situation comes, I choose to do nothing. Then I lost the game.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. This is often
Happens.
The choice that you have, and we are all smart. You know, when we know the result, as we say, the perfect hindsight 2020 vision. And and she goes for your line.
Oh, she goes it.
And she goes, but of course, if she goes for this, it was better to go before white improved to the pawn to h5, but it still is, and queen f6. Actually, Ju Wenjun played queen f6, and she is giving up the pawn on d7. And I think I would love to take with the queen, but maybe even the rook takes is a good move.
I think if I
but queen takes there is a counterplay.
I think rook c2 is bad. I will go rook b8.
Rook b8.
Maybe it's still a draw, but I
queen
was
d3.
Yes, I was a pawn up after take and the rook b5.
Just take and rook b5, and it actually all starts playing very well into white's favor here.
Yes.
So here, by the way, it's really even this position that we spoke about. It's not entirely easy for black to defend, and the computer actually says that black is totally lost here because this pawn is weak. And actually, it's since we have a little time, we can come back to this position later because it's an important principle to show in this line. So after queen d7, how does the game continue?
I will play rook f8, I think, because queen f2
rook f8
and the queen f3, two threats here.
Point is that we don't have rook b2, a convenient way to protect our pawn.
Wow, so maybe white is kind of losing, I think. How?
Yeah, well, the computer says f4.
Yes, f4 is the only move.
But f4 is a bit of a scary move, I have to say.
Yes.
But actually, even if we take with the rook on d7 and after rook f8, we still need to play f4, right?
Or maybe queen d4 seems like also.
Queen d4 and king g1. Yes.
Yes.
To make sure this is not taken
hanging.
with a check, because queen g7 is a threat.
Yes, it's
so this
also.
This is kind of.
But queen d4, black just play queen d4 as just a draw.
But actually, I like this idea a lot
Yes.
by the world champion because it forces white to First of all, you untie. You suddenly get to make moves not only with your king, which is good.
Yes.
Is always good. And maybe she was actually waiting for white to play
H5. Yes.
And now look at this. Somehow she managed to get her king in a perfect spot. Not on G8
Yes.
where it gets into all kinds of checks. Not on H7 to be hit also from this side, but on H8. This is what basically world champions do, right? They make sure that when they play something, their pieces are on the very best positions possible. Each player has just over 6 minutes left on their clocks, and we need to make 7 more moves. Not a big time pressure, of course. The position is fairly equal and fairly not calculation heavy, right?
Yes.
So, and of course, it has to be said that I wanted to say, is this a move if you want to make a draw with white?
And you will play Queen B5, I think.
Queen B5, yes.
Yes, I think.
So white is not in any danger, of course.
Yes.
And although if I'm calculating and I'm seeing this line and I'm seeing that I have to play a 4, at least in the very first seconds, I'm not very comfortable here with white because I feel that I weakened my king too much. But again, having this a queen and a rook on the 7th rank, it's my insurance card that nothing bad will happen here, probably.
And for example, let's say if black play rook d8, and if white play queen c6 or something, if black plays rook d2, I think it only gives white some winning chances. For example, king f3. You play
because we are covering really all the important squares.
Yes.
The queen.
And
but again, you need to calculate it, right?
Yes.
And your now Lei has less than 5 minutes on her clock. And all of a sudden, from psychological point of view, this shift from a position where your opponent can only move her king to suddenly a position where you are also facing some
calculations
that you need to calculate. This is a spot where often even the best players go wrong.
Yes.
This sudden change of the type of the position. Lei Tingjie took with the rook, and now after rook f8.
Rook f8 is played on the board.
It is on the board, and
she played f4. Yes.
And I think the point why she took with the rook, she doesn't want to allow any rook d4s. Of course. She sees that okay, this is just one check, nothing major, and the rook is now threatened, and maybe if things go too dangerous, she knows that she has a rook d8 as a threat. Rook c8 was played by Ju Wenjun, again putting the rook in a spot where she is the one creating threats. So very nicely actually played by both players. But now I'm wondering what happens if we play queen d3. My point is that we prevent the king, the h7 square, the luft from the king.
And you cannot play some moves like queen b2, rook c2 because...
Exactly.
Yes.
So
if you over push, I give rook d8.
This is just game over because of rook d8. And if we don't do that with black, and what was played, some moves were made, we can see that. Lei Tingjie played queen d4. Okay, so she doesn't want to play games at all. She forces a coin exchange. She says, okay, I've had enough. I weakened my king. You start getting some checks.
Yes.
What is this? I don't like that. I don't want that. I want to exchange the queens. Actually, the rook endgame is better for white because the king is
higher
very nicely
than
placed.
yes.
It will get better. It will be better position. Black has one more weakness than white in this position. Of course, this is not enough. Not merely enough. The rook can be placed, for instance,
yes.
on a spot like a3, hitting both those pawns. You will it's not even easy to find a way how you even advance with your king, because after a check you cannot leave the pawn unattended, and if you go to g4, for instance, and move something like this, it's very, very hard to make any progress for white.
But actually, I like the decision for Lei Tingjie.
It's a very prudent move. It's a very nice in a way that you keep the game. You know, you keep the game in two results territory.
Yes.
Right. So you don't. You know, it's probably a draw. It's 99 times out of 100 it will be a draw.
Yes.
One time maybe if your opponent
blunders
misplays something very badly, you might get chances to win.
And
But
here,
you probably don't lose this.
if I play black, I think I find something really easy to draw. For example, I play queen d4, rook d4. How about rook c5? I capture your pawn.
You attack the pawn.
And g4 is forced, and e5. This is what I want to play.
To get rid of this weakness.
And I think you cannot play rook d8 and the king h7 f5 is not a move, because rook c4 I think it's
only white who can win here. Sorry, who can lose here.
Yes. Because if you play some move rook d7 in the future, I can play king g8. It's not a threat.
Absolutely.
So after e5, I think you have to play f6 e5.
And here really nobody goes nowhere.
Yes, it's
the kind of position that
yes,
it's just drawish. But Ju Wenjun needs to make her decision whether she feels this rook endgame is safe enough for her to go into, or does she even have another choice? Because if you want to keep the queens on the board, you would need to play a move like, I'm afraid to say, Queen f8.
Yes, this is the only move if you want to keep the queen. And
she did take on d4, rook takes d4. Both players are really not having too much time on their clocks, but also not many moves to be made. 37 moves have been made already. Rook d4, white took on d4 with the rook, and black plays a simple king g8. So Lei Tingjie found the only situation where the king was not ideally placed, right? So
yes,
for a rook endgame, the king is better placed on g8, right? To go closer to. But I want to say, what is this move? So the point is that if we attack, the black has an immediate counterplay, which is more than enough for a draw. And if we start bringing our king towards the center, then I think this check is quite important.
yes, and you have to.
If you play king e4 though,
I think it's over for. I just play rook g3.
King e5,
e5.
you have rook e3.
Even rook h3 is also.
Or rook h3.
Yes,
and
I don't worry about this position
and
anymore.
if the pawn was on h7, we would have a chance to try and take the pawn with the checkmate threat. Of course, with the pawn on h7, with the luft on h7, there is no such threat. So yeah, this seems to be a very safe way for black to make the draw. And if the king goes to g4, we don't play, I think we don't play king f7 because this runs into some trouble.
Yes.
Maybe not too big of a trouble, but
But
why even allow
yes.
this, right?
Why I need to do this?
Because we can just play rook a3 here, and this basically means that white cannot improve because both pieces, the king needs to somehow take care of the g pawn, and the rook is tied to the a4 pawn. White will probably be able to play a king h4, g4, g5, but again, we are speaking about a dead drawish rook endgame.
So maybe we can put the video to the two players because it's really
let's see the
close.
emotion, the last moves
Yes.
Of the players playing together. What are actually Lei Tingjie played rook e4,
and rook c2 checked by
rook c2 and king f3. If Ju Wenjun plays rook a2 now, we might see white taking the pawn on e6. Let's see, we have Ju Wenjun is thinking what she wants to do. But Lei Tingjie, look at her posture. She is not giving up on her attempts to win the game. We are still trying to broadcast. Crashed again?